Hi there, my name is Etienne and I would like to talk about cashew cruelty on the international trade market. We've been talking about benefits from trade, imports and exports, generating surpluses, competitive advantages for some countries, comparative advantages. What I think is important though is to see that we benefit on one hand side from trade because prices get lower, decrease, there is higher demands, and the markets do adapt, but because they have to if they want to sell products. So I would like to emphasize on the bad aspects of trade, or at least for the sides that sometimes are neglected in our everyday lives because of the comforts that we live in. And these are indeed cashew nuts, for example. I'm sure most of the people have eaten cashew nuts before. I know that they are a trend for vegetarian and vegan diets, and I personally ate them because I like them as a snack, watching TV or anything, and yeah, just have them at the side, never really thinking about the impact that you do when you purchase them, especially when they're on offer or on sale for a very low price. So to show you the impact actually the consumption makes, here you see the top 3 nations consuming cashew nuts in Europe. Number 1 is Germany, followed by the Netherlands, and then the United Kingdom. And as we can see here, the example is for the United Kingdom. The consumption and the imports of nuts are increasing and forecasted to increase over the next 5 years, which includes cashews. So the demand is steadily rising. And yeah, to feed the demand, cashews are being produced, for example, in India, in Brazil, and in Vietnam. And let's focus a little on India. So we start with actually the cashew nut fruit or the cashew fruit. And what's being harvested is actually this little piece that you can see here. So it's less than a quarter of the fruit that's being harvested and used for the production. That's pretty shocking. And here you can see a worst example of the conditions, how these cashew nuts are being processed and peeled. And the bad thing about this are not only the conditions and the pressure that these people work in, but also the fact that the cashew nut shells do contain cardol and a narcotic acid that can cause burns to the skin. And these burns are nowadays still a fact of life for up to 500,000 workers in India in the cashew industry. And nearly all of these workers are women. And they're employed without contracts, they do not have a guarantee of a steady income, and they are paid by the kilo. So even if they could protect themselves with gloves, that would make them less productive. So many of them decide not to wear gloves and to be more productive, because an average worker would be able to produce 10 kilos a day, which are later in sale worth about 130 pounds. But in exchange, they only receive a salary of about 2.15 pounds a day. And this is not a really fair trade, as you agree, probably. So that's what I wanted to talk about. There is still a lot of topics, a lot of unfair, unequal trade out there, and the neglect of exploitation is still very high because we're just not well informed. We just are sometimes not aware of what's still going on. And this brought to my awareness how cashews are being produced sometimes, not all of the time,